Hello, and welcome to Visible Gamecast number 23. We're back after a month of absence, even though this is supposed to be a weekly show. And you might just notice this one familiar face. I'm Tristan Edelman. I'm a news editor. I do videos for Visible Gamer. But down there, we have anime boy Hayden Tan. His camera's a little out of whack. So no one from the site could do anything. So we got friend of the site, Hayden Tan, to talk about video games. Hayden, you like video games, right?
I do, yes.
I would say that you love them like your own child.
No. Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, so not a lot happened like last week because we're not going to recap all the stuff that happened in the month that we were gone with the Invisible Gamecast because that's insane. So it's just this past week or so. Earlier in the week, not much happened, but like in the past couple of days, a whole bunch of shit hit the fan. So we'll talk about that later. But first, this is kind of a little segue into talking about something that we missed. DNA, the company that Nintendo announced they're going to be working with on mobile games, has issued some layoffs in their North American offices, which is never good. Not a good sign, usually.
Nope.
You're familiar with this news, right? With the Nintendo mobile platform and all that stuff going on.
Yeah. Aren't they supposedly going mobile to sort of promote their games, right?
Yeah, like kind of some of their I guess motivation or kind of explanation of it is that they imagine that the people playing mobile games will kind of feed into the console games, like they'll get the casual players and then funnel them into kind of their main business with the console games. But yeah, we still don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be like a traditional mobile game, right? It's just going to be like, hey, here's a little taste of this Nintendo franchise like Mario, and if you want to see more, go play it on Wii U or something.
Right, and they've said it's not going to be like ports or it's going to be original games built for the mobile platform. And DNA has made mobile games before, like that's their thing. They publish mobile games and they also kind of build I know in Japan they have like their own kind of like PSN for mobile games, it's like a network, which is also a big part of the partnership with Nintendo. Actually, I don't know if we did talk about this. Maybe we did. I don't know. But anyways, just as a recap, that's what DNA is, and that's kind of how they came into the spotlight recently. But they had some layoffs hit their Vancouver studio, according to an article on IGN and of course it goes away as soon as I say that, by Cassidy Moser. I just want to credit people. And that's not good. They've said that it has nothing to do with their partnership with Nintendo, and it might just be kind of what they like to, a lot of corporations like to call corporate restructuring. And I just realized that my video's gone, I think, because I'm having some issues with.
Never mind. I was gonna say I still see you.
Oh, I guess it was just for me. I'm having some shockwave issues with Firefox because it sucks. But of course, the only thing that works, or it's the only browser that Google Plus Hangouts works on. It doesn't work in Chrome for me for some reason. Anyways, I'm just getting off on a tangent. Yeah, I don't think it's like a big sign of like, oh no, maybe DNA is not gonna make good mobile games or whatever. I think it's just kind of corporate restructuring, as I was trying to say.
Right.
But thoughts go out to the people affected, and I don't. I think it'll. If the DNA was going to make bad Nintendo mobile games, they're going to do it anyways, with or without these layoffs. You know, because they made some questionable mobile games for other brands and licenses. So, anyway, I just thought that was an interesting little tidbit. Next, this kind of snuck up on me. The Ratchet and Clank movie is going to be shown next month already.
Oh wow.
That doesn't mean it's coming out. It's going to screen at the Cannes Film Festival. I don't know exact. Cannes Film Festival, yes. So that's usually some kind of screening before they come out, but it's come out this year already. Mm-hmm. That was like 2 years ago that they announced that movie. That's insane.
Is there an official release date?
No, I think it's just 2015.
Okay,
so I would imagine, I'd imagine kind of like holiday. I don't know, as late as Christmas. A lot of movies come out on Christmas. They're gonna need like an animated, ostensibly a kids movie in that period, but it might even be as early as like November, Thanksgiving-ish, is my guess. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited too.
I think it's called Ratchet and Clank, and it follows basically the same plot of the first game. Ratchet's trying to be like Captain Quark, as the story by Spencer Campbell on HardcoreGamer.com says. And it's directed by Kevin Munro, who we said direct T3D animated movie, which I'm trying to figure out if he's talking about TMNT, just TMNT 2007.
Oh yeah, I heard that was a pretty good.
Yeah, not the most recent shit show. Michael Bay produced one.
Don't talk about that one.
Yeah, but other than that, it looks like he hasn't done much. He did the Ant Bully as a concept artist, but as a director, he's done TMNT, Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, which I don't think people were like, Ratchet and Clank, and he's doing the Sly Cooper movie, which is supposed to come out 2016.
So obviously doing the Sly Cooper movie.
Yeah, so obviously, Sony tapped him, I imagine, because of his work on TMNT. Doing that, directing 3D animated anthropomorphized creature movie. Apparently that movie's pretty good. I never saw. No idea. But at the same time, there's going to be like a revamped game coming out around that time. I'm still not really sure if that's supposed to be a remake or what. If it's like a reboot.
I think it's supposed to be just a full-on remake. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just. I imagine it'll be a little bit more going on than the PS3 re-release that they did, the HD remaster.
It's gonna.
I imagine it's more of a ground-up thing.
Rework the textures and everything. So yeah.
I imagine.
Which sounds cool, but kind of makes you wonder why.
Yeah, I think it's just a tie-in with the movie.
Yeah.
And I imagine they're going to tweak some of the UI, because some of the UI in that first game, especially after you played some of the later Ratchet and Clank games, was pretty obtuse.
Yeah. Hasn't quite aged as well.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they do with that. I love Ratchet and Clank. I know people are kind of down on it because it just keeps coming up in some weird way, but I'm excited for the movie. The trailer they put out a while ago, like probably a year ago at this point, was pretty funny, even though it wasn't really indicative of what the movie's going to be like. It was just kind of like a, hey, this is what the characters are going to look like. Here's some jokes. So I'm excited for it. Let's move on to Project Cross Zone 2 being announced. Did you play the first Project Cross Zone?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah, me neither. It's one of those.
From a guy that's pretty big on JRPGs.
Yeah, it's like a strategy-ish game, right? It's like I think it skews more strategy than it does RPG. But anyways,
yeah, it's like a strategy RPG.
Okay, yeah. So Project Cross Zone 2 is getting a sequel for the 3DS. It's developed by Monolith Software. It's going to feature like characters from from the first one from Bandai Namco, Capcom, and Sega, which is insane. Like,
Yeah, talk about big collaboration there.
it's so weird because all those companies have like really diverse. It's not like Nintendo, right? Where a lot of Nintendo's characters are very cartoony and they fit in that universe. Like Capcom has Mega Man and Resident Evil. You know what I mean? And that's just within Capcom.
Yeah.
This story by Gabe on our site on Visible Gamer says that other franchises confirmed for Project Cross Zone 2 include Tekken, Devil May Cry, Yakuza Dead Souls, and Soul Calibur. That those are all so different, you know. I don't know if I'm gonna really get this. I don't really know what people even really thought of the original. Michael Burns, who reviewed it originally, said that it thrives on fan service, but it won't convert anyone who's interested in the included series. So
I heard it kind of got some mixed reviews.
Yeah, and I remember
positive though for the most part.
Yeah, and I remember it being announced and being like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." And then I found out it was like a strategy, like intense game, and I'm like, maybe I'll just pass on it." And then it came out, and I was like, "Oh, wow, I forgot that was a game." And then now that's probably gonna happen with the second one. I just think it's interesting that those companies get in bed together to make that game. Like it's three very Japanese companies, so it's sure to make a very Japanese game.
Oh, one quick thing. You said Sega is involved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So you know Shenmue, right?
Yeah.
Shenmue, the classic Dreamcast game made by Sega. Yeah, I think if they put Ryo Hazuki in that game, make him a playable character, in some shape or form, you know, that would entice me to pick up the game. Because
I mean, people are aching for more Shenmue. Like it's like, you know, it's funny. All three of these companies too have, I'll say, misutilized like some of their biggest things. You know what I mean? Like Sega, what they did with Sonic is like pretty insane. And Sega's not even like really in the console or handheld business. They've talked about how they're going into just strictly kind of mobile, casual stuff. After they downsized a lot recently, and their profits went way down. And they also misutilized Shenmue. A lot of people want that. And then Capcom like doesn't know what the fuck to do with Mega Man. Like, come on, make a Mega Man game. Like, and then Bandai Namco, I guess to some extent, is kind of weird with Pac-Man. Like that ghostly adventure. I mean, they're a little less so because they came out with Championship Edition, which is like an amazing Pac-Man game. But like those ghostly, is it called the Ghostly Adventures? But the most recent one where he's like teeth and like pupils and he looks weird.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And so all of them have like weird things with their properties. So hopefully they can kind of give some proper fan service with this game. But anyways, I don't know if Pac-Man's in it, but that'd be cool. Now did you ever play Destiny?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. So probably neither of us are the ones to be talking about Destiny. But I just want to touch on it because people are like really upset about this. Destiny is getting an expansion called House of Wolves, and it won't have a raid. And a lot of the hardcore Destiny players, like that's what they do. They play the raid. You know, they play the raids. That's it. And I think the interesting thing about this was that their marketing beforehand kind of insinuated that there was, or maybe even explicitly said that there was going to be a raid, which I think is the more interesting aspect of the story. Not that, because I don't play Destiny. I've never played Destiny. I don't really care. But that, you know, they're not catering to their hardcore audience. Do you know anyone that plays Destiny? Because I don't play Destiny, but I know
no,
a lot of people.
I really can't tell you anything on that.
Yeah, I mean, people like there is a Destiny community, which I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really expect to see, considering how bare bones everyone was telling me it was at launch. But if you're into Destiny, you're into Destiny, and raids are a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just think it's kind of, I don't know. It's not like awful that that there is no raid, but I think that if it was mismarketed as some people are saying, then that's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think I'll ever get to Destiny. I think there's nothing there for me. If they do Destiny 2 that has a story and things that I care about, maybe I will, but it's just not my kind of game. I just wanted to touch on the fact that Destiny is not something we like. um, now this is something that I hold very near and dear to my heart,
Hmm.
and that's that Kingdom Hearts 3 has some news.
Oh.
And people are so desperate for Kingdom Hearts news. It's not really even that big of a news story, but I keep seeing like every once in a while, every month or so, there's like Tetsuya Nomura, who's the director of Kingdom Hearts 3, because he's
Mm-hmm.
known to like say some things maybe he shouldn't, or maybe not even that. He's just very candid about stuff. You know what I mean? He's not
Mm-hmm.
super secretive.
Yeah.
Um, so speaking to Famitsu, like in this case, he was talking to Famitsu promoting a Square Enix smartphone RPG called Rampage Land Rankers, and then he ended up talking about Kingdom Hearts 3. So that's kind of the guy he is.
Out there.
Yeah. But anyways, he said that here I'll read the quote from this Gametsu article by Sal Romano, quoting Tetsuya Nomura, director of Kingdom Hearts 3. He says, "We have some interesting things planned. There will be Kingdom Hearts 3 news and various things, I think. Development on Kingdom Hearts 3 is going smoothly, but there will also be new announcements connected to it. As one of those new announcements, I think we should be able to announce a smartphone-specific development for the series in short order." And he's referencing to the D23 Expo in Japan in November. So there's going to be Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be there in some capacity. You like Kingdom Hearts, right? Like you've played 1 and 2, right? Have you played any other ones?
Just the first two. But,
And you love them, right? Tell me you love them.
Yeah, they're great games.
Yeah, and
I'm pretty excited for 3.
everyone is. I'm dying for Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm kind of sick of these handheld side stories. I'm like, come on, let's get the next game rolling. And I think is Kingdom Hearts 3 2016 game? Is that what people are saying? Is that what somewhere even what this is?
I'm not sure if they even released a date for it.
Yeah, just even like a year window, a release window for the year. Let me see. Let me look. Let me see here. I don't know. Maybe not. But it's obviously been in development forever. And some people think it's not going to come out for another 2 or 3 years, which I'm hoping is not the case. Because it should have been development for a long time. But
honestly, I feel like it really hasn't been in development for as long as people think it has.
Oh no, no, it definitely hasn't been in development since Kingdom Hearts 2, but it should have been.
It's like when they first announced Kingdom Hearts 3 about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was at E3 2013.
I think like they had barely started working on it.
Right.
Like it was just barely into production.
Yeah, the little bit they showed, I feel it was more like a tech demo than it was like a proof of what the game's going to be like.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to see Kingdom Hearts 3 for anytime soon.
That saddens me.
Maybe, like you said, another 2 years roughly.
God, I hope not. I don't know. I guess even 2017 makes sense now that you're explaining it like that. Like, I guess the nostalgia and the fandom I hold in my heart, it just wants it in 2016. Even if you get it to me December 31st, 2016, I just want it to be 2016. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so he said that there's going to be some announcements connected to it, which could be a delay, even though he says it's going smoothly. And kind of interestingly, he says, I think we should be able to announce a smartphone-specific development for the series in short order. So a smartphone game, maybe, or that could be a smartphone app, that connects to the game in some way. I'm not really sure what that turns out to be. But knowing Square Enix, it'd probably be something we don't want.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were talking about those Japanese companies that mismanage. No, it's not just Japanese companies. I'm just saying, related to that Project Crosswind story we're talking about. Companies that mismanage their properties that fans are dying for. Talk about Square Enix. I mean, and even Kingdom Hearts specifically. Like, I don't know how hard it is. Like, I guess it's just easy for me to say, not being a businessman, but there are like so many weeaboos clamoring for Kingdom Hearts 3. Just give it to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm one of them. I'm not really a weeaboo or otaku or whatever you want to say, but I'm clamoring for it. I think Kingdom Hearts 3 will do gangbusters when it eventually comes out. Anyways, let's move on. So Guitar Hero Live was announced. Cool. How do you feel about? Have you seen the news? First of all, it's Guitar Hero Live. It's a new guitar. It's got the 2 rows of 3 buttons instead of like 1 row of 5 buttons for the guitar. The focus is that it's live action.
Yeah, it's supposed to make you feel like you're actually on stage.
Right.
And I saw a video on that.
And I think it's like single player. Like it's not, multiplayer. I could be very wrong about that, but I saw something about it being not. No, I guess it is multiplayer. I don't know what I'm thinking, but I guess
you just froze and cut out.
On the other hand, Rock Band 4 was announced a while ago. I'm really excited for that. Do you feel? How do you feel about that? The same way, or
Rock Band 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Even though I haven't really seen any gameplay footage of it, but
right, yeah, no, that's the difference too between Rock Band and Guitar Hero is that Guitar Hero, like when the embargo lifted, there was a blast from every publication of like, here's our hands-on preview, here's a video, here's a let's play, So I think Guitar Hero and Activision handled that a little bit better, maybe, in terms of proving what they have. It's just that what they have is not anything I want. I've always been more of a Rock Band guy.
Yeah, same here. Like, I don't know. I feel like I have there's more of a nostalgia value in Rock Band for me.
Yeah, even though Guitar Hero,
I have some pretty good memories playing the first Rock Band. So
yeah, and that might be a Harmonix thing too, because Harmonix made Guitar Hero 1 and 2, right? And then they went off and did Rock Band for EA. So I think that might be the deciding factor, is that Harmonix is cool. Not that the guys that make Guitar Hero are not or whatever, but I don't know. It's just the song selection, just the feel of it, the look of it, just kind of engendered itself to me much more. Plus, they did the whole band thing before Guitar Hero did that, which was fun. I like playing the drums on Rock Band.
Yeah, it was fun.
But Guitar Hero Live is going to be $99.99 with 1 guitar, and I think they're kind of going for the same game as a platform type thing that Rock Band is going for, where it's like, we're not going to sell a new one every year, which is perfect. That's perfect, because that's exactly what killed this genre 5 years ago. So I think that's a smart idea. A big thing too is that Guitar Hero Live won't support any of the old peripherals. Rock Band, and they just announced this yesterday, I think, will not only support the peripherals from last gen. It will. That's what I'm going to say. It will support the peripherals from last gen, so you don't need to buy new guitars and whatever, unless you really want the new designs that they put out. And all your DLC songs, with a few exceptions, will carry over to Rock Band 4. Guitar Hero Live is just its own new thing. There's like no connection. It's just you get this and it's starting over again. So I think Rock Band 4 is kind of poised. I don't know how to talk. Is kind of set up to kind of beat Guitar Hero again, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, anyways,
Yeah, and yeah, back to what you were saying with Guitar Hero Live. So
Mhm.
okay, so basically it uses like live video footage, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
sort of to immerse you.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's not immersive to
yeah. I
me.
don't really know how I feel about that because I know it's trying to be it's trying to make you feel like you're there on stage, but you know I would have preferred it if they used the current gen graphics instead of because to me like the live video just makes it feel like a cheap
Totally,
interactive video if that makes sense.
totally. Yeah,
You know, it just doesn't really seem to utilize the console's potential.
yeah. Especially with what they could do with crowds with the new,
Hmm.
power of the new gen consoles. I mean, if you look at like Assassin's Creed, what they say they could do with crowds or whatever, just use that kind of computing power,
Right.
processing power to make the crowds much more believable. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. That's exactly why I don't like what Guitar Hero Live is doing. It's so cheapy and gimmicky.
Hmm.
It feels like what video game developers in the 90s thought was immersive, like FMV video. It's like, oh, it's
Hmm.
exactly like you're there. And it's like, no, it's not. It's like a cheaply shot. I'm not saying this is cheaply shot, but it's not what that is. It feels like you're watching an instructional DVD. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like a play along, learn this song on a DVD. So I don't like that approach either. I think you hit the nail on the head with that's the case. But the grander topic I was wanting to get to with this is rhythm games are coming back, and I think that's a great thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Specifically, this kind of rhythm games. Rhythm games in other forms have kind of been around. This like based rhythm game is coming back. And Amplitude made by Harmonix. They're doing Rock Band 4 and Amplitude, which is kind of interesting. So it's like
Hmm.
there's that trifecta coming out. I just hope they don't run it all into the ground again.
Hmm.
Because I called this actually, which is amazing. I was right. Um, I wrote a piece a while ago, like quite a few months ago, about gaming fads that I wanted to come back, and one of them was the plastic instrument rhythm game. Um,
Yeah.
and because they were like really fun. Like it's no, I can't deny that they were really fun.
Hmm.
I know that towards the end of their life cycle, I know people were like, rock band's not cool anymore or whatever. But I'm like, it's fun. I like music a lot. That's where I first heard Weezer, I think, and realized it was Weezer. Not like I had heard them before, but just been like, oh, this song is by a band called Weezer, and that's my favorite band, as everyone knows. And that's your favorite band, right? Or one of them?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Weezer's that, huh?
Oh, I thought you were gone for a second.
No. Yeah, Weezer is such a great band.
They're amazing.
One of my
I'm
favorites
just
as well.
I'm going off on a tangent with Weezer, but yeah.
Hmm.
I already forgot what I was talking about. The Rock Band. Shoot, I already forgot. I feel like a fool. Um, let's see. Oh, I was talking about my my article, gaming fads that I want to come back. I feel like an old man. I wrote about how I wanted them to come back, and I wanted them to come back as a platform, not as a annualized. Here's Green Day, and here's that you can put out DLC for that if you really want, not as a full fledged other game that requires new guitars and whatever, keyboards and gimmicky stuff like that. And that's exactly what it seems like both of them are doing, which is the exciting aspect of this. Uh, and I'm glad that they listened to me. I'm glad that they read my article.
Hmm. Well, that's good.
Now we just need 3D platformers to come back, and then I'll.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a whole different story though.
Yeah,
If only.
they kind of are in the form of there's like some Kickstarters and things that
Yeah.
are kind of doing it. Hat in Time and Platonic, which is some of the guys that worked on Banjo Kazooie. It's supposed to be a spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
there's hope for it yet. Maybe in a couple years we'll get a renaissance.
Hmm.
But speaking of 3D platformers, kind of, Insomniac has a new game coming out, and they made of course Spyro and Ratchet and Clank, some of the best 3D platformers from the heyday of 3D platformers. And it's called Slow Down Bull. It's coming to PC on Steam actually on April 20th, which is very soon. And now I wrote about this probably about last June for Invisible Gamer, and it was like a little, like, it's a team of 3 or 4 people that were making it. It was like just a small like internal project at the studio, just to do some experimental stuff. And let's see, they describe Slowdown Bull as an action collecting game. It features Esteban, a bull who aspires to be a wonderful artist. As you steer him through levels to collect decorations, his stress level grows. The challenge is to complete each level before the timer ends, but without triggering a bullish rampage. And it's like a very stylish, kind of cutout look, a 2D look. So I'm excited for that. Insomniac makes great games, funny games. They haven't really made a bad game except for, according to many accounts, oh shoot, what was it called? That shooter they made after they kind of split from Sony.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Fuse.
Yeah.
Fuse. That's what I was trying to think of. Like, it sounded like an energy drink. Fuse. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking because it used to be called Overstrike, right?
Right. Exactly. And then it got retooled into something that people didn't like as much.
Yeah, and yeah, it was supposedly going to be a first-person shooter, but then they changed it to third person.
Yeah, I know people didn't really like that game, but other than that, they have a very good track record, and this is cool because it looks like an indie game, which it might as well be, because it was just a small group of people within Insomniac, just like, hey, let's do a little side project. Last June, they said that it wasn't even half finished, and it comes out really soon. So check it out.
So I'm guessing this game, it's going to be just like a downloadable title, right?
Yeah, it's on Steam on April 20th. That's the only platform that they've said.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a fun little experiment for them, which is awesome. And it's cool to see these. I mean, Insomniac is Insomniac, right? They have a legacy. They can go back to Sony if they really wanted to. They went to Microsoft and they made Sunset Overdrive for Xbox One. Like they don't need to make games like this. They can go wherever they want and make AAA games with a good budget because they're Insomniac. But it's cool to see them, trying to stave off old age and being out of touch by making a game like that. I think it's really cool. I'm probably gonna get it, honestly, just because Insomniac's really cool.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Definitely. Okay, so let's see what our next story is here, Hayden. Okay. So, have you played Mario Kart 8? Do you own Mario Kart 8?
Yes, I do own Mario Kart 8, and I've played quite a good bit of it.
And you love it, correct?
Yes.
Yes, good. It was Invisible Gamer's Game of the Year last year, so obviously we liked it a lot. It was my personal pick for Game of the Year as well. It's really good. And Nintendo has released the DLC details for the May DLC. Did you ever get the first pack of DLC?
No, I didn't.
It's really cool. Like, it's a lot of content. So the first DLC, before I get to this, was you got 3 characters, which was 2 of them were like, it was Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach, and Link, which was the cool aspect of it to a lot of people. And you got like a few carts and stuff, and then you got 8 tracks, like 2 whole new cups, which was like, what is that? It was like a fourth of the game already. Yeah, it was like a fourth because there was 8 cups, and then they added 2 more. And now they're adding 2 more cups, 8 other tracks, which effectively doubles the game by half.
Wow.
Or adds another half to the game. I don't know how math works. So that's really exciting. I love Mario Kart 8 a lot. So on the same day as the free 200cc update, which will go out to everyone, where the 200cc mode will make everything super fast and insane and crazy, like it wasn't already. The Animal Crossing DLC pack will come out. The characters will be Villager, Isabelle, and Dry Bowser. Then you get a few vehicles as well, and then you get, let's see, there's new tracks. You get an Animal Crossing track, Big Blue from F-Zero, Super Bell Subway, and Wild Woods. And then the retro tracks are going to be Baby Park, Cheeseland, Koopa City, and Ribbon Road. So that's exciting. I'm really pumped for this.
Yeah. Sounds like quite a good amount of content there.
Yeah, and they're adding it a year after the game came out. You know, like it took them a while to make it, but they're still supporting the game. And I don't know if this will be the last thing they do for Mario Kart 8, but I hope not. Because I have lots of fun with it. I already bought it, so because when the first DLC came out, you could buy it both at the same time. So I did it then. So I'm just gonna download it and play it when it comes out. I'm excited.
Yeah, Nintendo knows how to do DLC right.
Yeah, which is they got to it late, but they're doing it really well. And I'm actually surprised at how cheap Mewtwo and Lucas are going to be for Smash Bros. $5 each, which I think some other companies might charge more for that. Mewtwo comes out in like a week or so, I think. And I know I'm going to get him as well for Smash. So EA is shutting down 4 of its free-to-play games. I think it was like the 4 of its oldest free-to-play games that they launched.
Yeah, I think I heard about this actually.
Yeah, they launched them like 2009, quite a few years ago. It's some of their oldest stuff. So the 4 games in question are, let's see, Battlefield Heroes, Battlefield, Play for Free. Those are 2 different games. Need for Speed World and FIFA World. And they're going to be going offline in a little under 90 days. It was 90 days from when Patrick Soderlund, the EA Executive Vice President, announced it. So that sucks. I don't know anyone that plays those games. I don't think I'd ever heard of them. I'd heard of them because I'm bumming around press sites and stuff a lot of the time, or press sections of a lot of sites sometimes. So I think I'd heard of some of them, but I'm like, I didn't even know these existed. I don't know what that community is like. Obviously, it's not a big enough community. Otherwise, EA would have kept them running.
And I feel like that's just kind of the nature of a lot of these free-to-play games.
Right. Know? They're hard to sustain unless you have a big audience.
That, and also just some of, the questionable business practices they do. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, some games do it right though. There's definitely games out there that do it right. I mean, I play Smite like a madman, and you can basically buy the game for $40. You pay $40, you get the God Pack or whatever it's called, and you get all the gods that have ever come out and all the ones that will ever come out. So you're basically buying the game because everything else is cosmetic. The only gameplay change is the god, using the characters. The gods are the playable characters. The heroes, as you were, or whatever they call them in League of Legends and Dota and whatever. So that they do it perfectly. You just buy the game. That's the best option for free-to-play games. If you want to do free-to-play, fine, get people in the door. Give an option to just buy the damn game. And I think a lot of publishers have realized no one wants free-to-play. There was a big boom of it a few years ago, probably when these games came out, and now it's definitely tapered off. And people are like, it's going to be the future of games. No, it's not.
No, yeah.
It can still be done well, but I'm glad that some people have figured out how to do it right. And I have no idea the nature of the free-to-play in these games. But in the post that Soderlund wrote, he mentioned Star Wars: The Old Republic as being a very successful free-to-play game for them, which didn't start out as a free-to-play game, but went free-to-play. And from what I've heard, that's another one that does the model well. You get a lot of content for free. I know Lord of the Rings Online gives, I couldn't even get through it in playing for 100 hours. I couldn't get through all the free content.
You can only reach up to a certain level.
Yeah, that's usually, yes. Yeah, a lot of the free to, that's the kind of stuff I don't like in the free to play, especially when it comes to MMOs, is a lot of they might give you a lot of story stuff to do or a lot of missions or whatever, but yeah, you can't you have fewer bag slots and you have you can't level up as high, and that's kind of the stuff where it's it's nickel and diming you, and it makes you feel bad.
Yeah,
it just takes you out of the experience of playing the game, which is not good. Do you play any free to play games regularly?
No, not really.
Have you ever spent money on a free-to-play game?
Nope, and I don't really plan to.
Yeah, I mean, it's more power to you. The only game I've spent money on is Smite. That's the only free-to-play game. I would, if I had unlimited free time, I would spend money on Lord of the Rings Online. But I mean, there's too many games coming out. I can't devote all that time. Elder Scrolls Online, though, I'm going to try out when it comes out. And it's cool because that's another model that Guild 2 did. It's not necessarily free to play. It's not really, because you're still buying the game. You got to buy the game for $60, but then it doesn't require a subscription. You can subscribe, whatever, but it doesn't require a subscription to play, and you get the basic good gameplay experience just from buying the game. And I don't know why a lot of publishers or whatever thought that it was a good idea to go away from that model, because people end up kind of resenting it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they did think it was a good idea because of all the success a lot of mobile games had, and are still continuing to have. Like Candy Crush makes a shit ton of money. Zynga games for a while were making a lot of money. Now Zynga's kind of, but free to play. 2015. Let's see. All right, so some more Nintendo news after we were talking about Mario Kart earlier. Nintendo has reported a hardware sales increase from 2014. At this time in 2014, well, this is a bad way of wording it. Wii U sales are up 20%. 3DS system sales are up 80% compared to this time in 2014. That's a much better way of wording it. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Does that mean just like at this point in 2014, like the total number of sales was not as high? Is that what that means?
I guess so.
Like for the 3 months so I guess like if January to March 2014 sold a certain number, January to March 2015 sold a certain number, 2015 one is higher. I think that's what it means. I'm not entirely sure, because I don't know business, and I know some of this wording has something to do with business. But 80% is sizable, I guess, for 3DS. 20% for Wii U is kind of
yeah,
and it's sad because Wii U's awesome.
Could be or should be higher, but
yeah, and it sucks because we've talked about the Wii U not selling enough since it came out. Like forever. Like it's always a topic. It's always like Nintendo hardware sales are up, yeah, but they're up to a portion of what the other consoles are selling. It's like I don't know.
I really don't know what Nintendo's plans are for the Wii U. I mean, as you know, they recently announced like their next console. What is it? The NX.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so
that's a code name.
Announce that and give more details next year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I don't think that means that it comes out next year.
Yeah. So, no, definitely not.
I think it's just that the reason they announced that when they announced they were doing their mobile thing with DNA, and I think they announced it to assure fans and investors, more importantly, that hey, we're not transitioning. This is a side thing. We're still very much devoted to console market. I think that was the message there. It's not that it's like Wii U's dead, time to move on. It was that hey, don't run away yet. We're still devoted to this stuff. So I think that's why they did it. But it has kind of caused some confusion in people that like, how much longer does the Wii U have?
Yeah. Totally understandable.
Yeah, it came out in 2012, right? So if they announced it next year, actually fully announce it, show it off, say what it's going to be, really, the concept of it. And then it comes out 2017, like holiday 2017. That gave Wii U 5 years.
Which is like your standard console life cycle.
Well, definitely for Nintendo, because especially as of late. Because if you think 96 to 2001, and that's for North American dates for 64, right? GameCube came out in 2001, and then GameCube was 2001 to 2006, and then wait, what did I just say? GameCube to Wii was 2001 to 2006, and then Wii went a little bit longer, 6 years. But yeah, Nintendo life cycles typically aren't that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would just make sense, especially since it's like one of the least successful consoles.
Yeah.
It just, I think it's setting off alarm bells in people's head for some reason because they announced it so early, which they had to in that case, as we mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really hope Nintendo steps up their game soon.
Well, that's the thing. They don't need to step up their games.
There's kind of been a drought in game releases. I mean, sure we got Mario Kart, Smash.
Not even had a big gap
between but the time in between those releases is kind of a long one,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2014 was pretty sparse. So, 2015 is already off to a better start, but yeah, they're delaying Zelda to 2016, which they need to do if they need to make the game better. I'm totally behind that, but it also sucks because I love Zelda. Yeah. But I think that they're fine. People always go, they have their $1 billion war, not billion, like 80 billion. I don't know what it is. Their war chest, right, of funds that they need that they can rely on. Yes, they can't always rely on that. They need to make money. They can't just be like, oh, we'll just take a hit every time we put out a console. That's not how a business works. But at the same time, I think that I don't know what they can do. I'm not a business analyst. I don't know what's going on. So when Wii U came out, people were like, oh, this is a sign that consoles are dead. It's going to mobile, PC, whatever. Then the PS4 and Xbox One came out, and they are selling faster than anything has ever sold before. And in January, Nintendo announced that their Wii U was at 9.2 million units. In January, PS4 announced that they were 10 million way before that. I don't know about way before that, but before that, right? Like I think they announced their 10 million milestone around that time or a little bit before. And they have a year less time on the market.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
It's kind of embarrassing for Nintendo, And 3DS was doing great after they got a slow, 3DS had a slow start. And you talk about that Trojan horse that they kind of rolled out with when the Vita came out. Of like they came out the year before, right? And then it was a slow start, and that year that Vita came out, they're like, here's 3D Land, and here's all these games that you'll love. Because I remember you telling me.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember you explaining that to me. I'm like, oh yeah.
Mario 3D Land, the Christmas season of what year again?
I guess that was 2011. Maybe I guess. Yeah, so that was that same year that it came out, but it was the holiday season because 3DS came out in like springtime, and then by holiday when Vita was coming out. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me look it up. But yeah, they like kind of had a slow start and then they destroyed. Is basically what I'm getting at. And that didn't really happen with. We're still waiting on that to happen. And I don't think it will ever happen. It's kind of doomed to being a console with amazing games with just not that many of them. Let's see. Okay, it came out in Japan in 2011. That's right, and then it came out in February of 2012. So it was that holiday season in Japan that they destroyed the Vita with those games. I think Ocarina of Time came out holiday season, Ocarina of Time 3D. So, but even lately, 3DS has been slowing down. Majora's Mask was like the best-selling game of February, which made me the happiest man in the world. But yeah, I don't know. What did you say?
Did you get Majora's Mask?
Oh yeah, I have Majora's Mask 3D.
Because I know it's like your favorite Zelda.
It's my favorite game of all time. Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah. So I got it, and I got it late, and I'm so busy all the time that it's hard to find a lot of time to play deep, intense games like that. So I stopped playing it. And hear me out. I love that port and everything, but like I have this weird nostalgia for the 64 version. I love 3D version. I'm probably going to beat it eventually. I stopped playing it though because the 15th anniversary of Majora's Mask is coming up, and Dana and I are going to play Majora's Mask on Invisible Gamer Plays for that. So I didn't want to burn myself out on just like Majora's Mask Overload. I wrote a Majora's Mask feature that's going to go up sometime around the anniversary, which is in April 27th. So yeah, I don't want to I just beat the 3D version. All right, let's start up another playthrough with the 64 version, and then maybe do it for Classic Game Club podcast. And so I'm I gotta just cool it with that. But I loved what I played of the 3D version. And Majora's Mask is amazing. Anyways, yeah, the Nintendo. Talking about the Nintendo thing, it feels like beating a dead horse, but it constantly comes up because of these kinds of things. Like it's a never-ending cycle with them. It seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, anyways, let me get off my soapbox. Talk about Mortal Kombat X, something I know nothing about. Ed Boon, the co-creator and NetherRealm Studios creative director, tweeted, "Thank you for everyone for making Mortal Kombat X the biggest launch in MK history. You made the game far exceed our wildest expectations." So I know there's a lot of hype for Mortal Kombat X. Are you interested in the game at all?
Kind of. It looks interesting to me, but like this is coming from a guy that's not really big on fighters and or Mortal Kombat for that matter.
Yeah, have you played a Mortal Kombat game?
No.
Me neither.
Haven't played a single Mortal Kombat.
I have never touched a Mortal Kombat game. And that's not like I'm staying away from it. It's just like I never have. I'm actually really want to play the series. Like I'm really interested. It's got a weird lore to it and stories and characters. I'm like, oh wow, that's actually I didn't know it went that deep. And it really doesn't that deep. But there's story and characters and things to it. And I think I owe it to myself to play it for history's sake,
Yeah.
Eventually I'll get to it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I guess just the main thing that deters me from playing fighting games is the learning curve.
Yeah, and so it's the learning curve that's keeping you away from Mortal Kombat.
It's just I don't really want to invest the time to memorize all these button combos and just things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing that Mortal Kombat X kind of does well. At least the recent Mortal Kombat games, the 2009 one and this one it's a little more accessible.
Okay.
Gameplay wise, that's what people have told me. I haven't played any of them, obviously, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that. But yeah, people have told me, especially with X and like I said, the most recent ones, it's much more accessible. In the original Mortal Kombat were not really intense. They were pretty simple fighting games that were more about the spectacle than the gameplay depth. Whereas these ones are a little more intricate. There's a depth there for professional players, but it's also more accessible to the newbies. So I'm going to pick up Mortal Kombat X eventually. I'm trying to keep up with new releases this year, and I feel like that's a big one to play because people are talking about it, and it's just interesting that series has just lived on. It just keeps going, and people still love it. Like it's still a huge deal. Anyways, the actual story was that it was the biggest launch in history, which doesn't mean anything really. That weekend it might have sold the most than any other game in the series, but that doesn't mean it's the best selling in the series yet. The best selling in the series I looked up I researched the story that I wrote on Invisible Gamer was that Mortal Kombat 2009 was actually the best selling game in the series. And at the time when they announced that, it was at 3 million units sold. So, and obviously that's kind of hard to gauge because Mortal Kombat 1 through 3 original ones were very arcade centric, so it wasn't like people were tracking the sales numbers for that. And so Mortal Kombat has impacted a lot of people, but they don't necessarily have it in numbers for those original ones. All right, now this is the big news. Dan, I almost called you Dan. I'm sorry. We were recording Invisible Gamer Plays. Go check it out on our YouTube channel. This is the big news. Star Wars Battlefront has a release date. Let's talk about the video game first, and then we can talk about the actual cool thing here. Star Wars Celebration is going on in Anaheim this week. I know a lot of gaming press is there because there's lots of Star Wars Celebration has been going on for a long time, or for a while at least, a few years. Publications would send people. It has never been like this because never in recent memory has Star Wars been this huge again, and it makes me the happiest 8-year-old in the world. So Star Wars Battlefront, developed by DICE, EA's new take on the series, is coming out November 17th in North America for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, and that's a month before Star Wars: The Force Awakens comes out in theaters.
Okay. Yeah, I see what they did there because they want to sort of tie in with the movie, or
yes and no. I think it's
like release it, around the same time the movie comes out.
Yeah,
you know.
It doesn't necessarily have any actual
Yeah.
ties to it. Although I did read this thing that apparently you'll be able to go to the planet. You'll be able to. One of the maps is of the desert planet that's not actually Tatooine, which was news to me. That they showed in the recent trailer, which we'll get to. I don't want to get there yet because I'm going to explode when I actually start talking about it. But yeah, I'm excited for Battlefront. I'm a little less excited now because they announced that it will not have a narrative single-player campaign. It'll have like a set of missions that'll be solo or cooperative, and they're not tied together narratively. It won't have space action. It won't have prequel stuff, which, believe it or not, I like the prequels, so fuck you, people. But you can play as heroes in quotes, because they said hero units like Darth Vader and Boba Fett, which are neither of them are heroes, which you could do in Battlefront 2. That's the news. What do you think about it, Hayden?
Well, I'm pretty excited for Battlefront 3. Shoot, you just froze. Okay, wait, never mind. But yeah, like what you just said, how it's not going to include a story mode, right? Well, you know, I don't think that necessarily bothers me because, you know, I've always just played the Battlefront games as, you know, for the multiplayer.
That's true.
Yeah, and
or even just playing against the AI in non-story missions. Yeah.
Yeah, just you
and
know, you
will
can
be
always play against the bots, but
right.
I did, yeah. For me,
Good.
like it doesn't really matter if they include a story mode or not, because the rest of the game, you know, the core game and everything else is still there.
Yeah, and hopefully that core game is really fucking good. Like I hope it's like really compelling, and that multiplayer thing that you're talking about is as fun as Battlefront was on 1 and 2. In 1 and 2, it could get old because you're just playing against yourselves. And there was like online thing, but it was like on PS2, and it's like what? And that it's much more of a core thing with the PS4 and Xbox One. You know, it's much easier to connect to people online nowadays. So that could give the game much more legs than anticipated, and it will have solo missions, so that's cool. It might be just like little might have like a little like scenario, but it doesn't have an overarching story, which I can appreciate too. So it just depends on how it's done. I got there's a lot more to be seen before I can really judge it, obviously. But I'm excited for it. Star Wars is amazing. Speaking of Star Wars is amazing, did you see the trailer that they released during Celebration? I think we both tweeted that we had chills. I think we literally said chills at some point in our tweets. So you tell me what you think about it, and then I'll give my 2 cents.
Okay, let's see. Man, I don't even know where to start.
I know it was like a 2-minute trailer. And I'm like, how do I explain it? It's amazing. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, well, I guess for the second trailer, you know, obviously we got to see a bit more.
Definitely.
New characters like that. One Sith Lord guy.
I think he's called Kylo something. That's his name.
and then we saw like a quick shot of like this black stormtrooper with the cape on or something. Kind of reminds me of Boba Fett. Yeah, there's just a lot going on in that trailer, and also Luke narrating the first part of the trailer that got me pretty excited.
Then that fucking Chewie, we're home. That's what gave me the chills. That was when it kicked in. I was like,
Han was pretty much all I needed to see.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Han Solo.
And I know this is a movie thing, and this is a video game podcast, but it's Star Wars. It's so intrinsically tied to video games because it's so goddamn nerdy that we have to talk about the trailer. But I didn't realize that Desert Planet wasn't Tatooine, which kind of got me a little bit more excited. That girl's probably Luke's daughter, which is like, whoa. And obviously they're canceling out all the expanded universe, which is kind of sad, but deal with it, nerds. And I'm one of those nerds, so I can say that.
That's pretty depressing.
Yeah, I know. And the only thing that counts is the 6 movies, the Clone Wars show, and I guess that animated movie they did too. And then Rebels, and then anything new that comes out from now on. But this new canon that they're creating is still really compelling. This is 30 years after Episode 6, so a lot has happened, which is a little more exciting than just being like picking up right after Episode 6, because they can flesh out that world a lot more. Be like, apparently the Rebel Alliance isn't called the Rebel Alliance anymore. The Empire's not called the Empire anymore. They've taken on kind of new shapes. Finn, which is the name of that black stormtrooper, not the stormtrooper outfit isn't.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
The African American stormtrooper is apparently like a rogue stormtrooper who doesn't really believe in what he's doing anymore, and that makes me feel so cool. I'm like, yeah, go Finn. He looks like that actor's good. He's been in some indie things, and I'm glad he's getting the spotlight. I'm glad that there's a black person and a woman in Star Wars in the front. I cannot wait for that movie. I'm gonna go insane. There's too much Star Wars. I've never been more excited about Star Wars in my entire life, because I was born and raised into a world where the prequels were the new
thing. Same here.
So, and I like the prequels. I said it earlier, and I'll stand by that. And they're not great movies. They're not better than the original trilogy, but I like them. So, and that might be a nostalgia factor.
Terrible as many people.
I can see its flaws, and there's some comically bad things in them, but
yes, they do definitely have their issues.
Certainly, but I've never been more proud to be excited about a Star Wars thing. Because even with the prequels, it's like I have to have a little bit of a shame to it, like a defense. Whereas this, I'm so glad that everyone is all in excited for it. Even skeptics and cynics are like, "Oh, this looks really good." So I'm glad I can be in a world where Star Wars is the new cool thing again. It's great. I'm excited. All right. Let's kind of get close to wrapping up here. So this is a thing, if we had more viewers, we would do all the time. But a faithful viewer on YouTube, Mr. Moocher777, requested we talk about something. So we're going to talk about it, because he watches all our videos and comments on them and stuff. So we're going to talk about our favorite games that are mostly unknown. So underrated, kind of obscure games that are that we really like, that are among the favorites. And I should have prepared a list for this in advance, now that I think about it. But let me look at my shelf here.
I have to kind of let me look at my shelf.
So here's the thing. As far as mostly unknown, there's probably not a lot. I'll talk about games that are maybe underrated or that people dislike. Star Wars Adventures. Wait, that's what it's called, right? Yes. Star Fox Adventures is my favorite Star Fox game. People hate that game. It's not a Star Fox game. This is not even the same realm, but I'm just saying I like the Black series. Majora's Mask is my favorite game. Until recently, it wasn't a beloved game. It's kind of what happened with Wind Waker. It's like there's revisionist history with it. It's like when Wind Waker came out, no, you didn't. You were one of those people that was like, I hate the cartoony art style, and I want realistic, gritty Link, and I want blah, 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 blah. So it kind of happened with Majora's Mask to a lesser extent, because people were trash talking the 3 days mechanic, and now like, oh, I can see how it works, and I'm like, okay, back off. All right, I liked Majora's Mask before you did. But yeah, do you have any? I'm just saying that as I'm trying to think of actual games that are mostly unknown. Do you have any ideas for you?
Let me look real quick, because I can't really think any off the top of my head right now. Okay, wait, let's see.
No, this is not like an old classic, but here's a game I really like a lot. It's called Audio Surf, and I recently discovered it again. And it's really cool because it's one of those games where you put in your own music and it creates the level based on it, and the gameplay isn't really that compelling. Honestly, you just kind of skate back and forth trying to hit these notes. You're like in a spaceship and thing, but I just love the idea of playing along with my own music, which is cool. And it actually does kind of create a level that kind of fits the music. Um, let's see. Let's see here. I don't know how many like unknown things I really like. I'm not as much as I said I like everyone else. I'm not a hipster, so I don't really have that many obscure things that I really enjoy. Oh, I know one. This is okay. We both hit one at the same time. Go ahead. You go first.
Okay. Okay. One pretty unknown game that I think is a little title called Folklore. It
Oh
was
yeah, it's a PS3
yeah, it
exclusive.
was a
Yeah.
JRPG. Yep, PS3 exclusive. One of the earlier titles too. But yeah, definitely such an underappreciated, underrated gem. Um, yeah, it had a pretty interesting combat combat mechanics.
Mm-hmm. It had an interesting.
I'm trying to remember here. So you would, so it was kind of like Pokemon, where you go out and fight these creatures, sort of capture them for your own. But the way you use those creatures is you sort of attack. Uh, how do I describe this? It's
It
not
was kind
like
of like
they
Nino
attack.
Kuni in
They
some
don't
way.
attack for you, but it's like they're sort of like literally like your weapons, and you utilize them as like a weapon, like sort of
Mm-hmm.
like maybe a projectile, like you're shooting a gun or something, or more like a melee weapon, and that's how you use them, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember like the premise and the aesthetic pretty cool because weren't they like in like an English town, like out on the kind of it had a good cool atmosphere to it. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A blend of like and like some of the and Japanese traditional Japanese folklore and like more Western and
Mm-hmm.
Welsh folklore, which is like really cool mix. I need to get that game. Actually, play it.
Yeah.
One of my picks is the Guardian Legend for NES, which is like a very unknown game. It was like so it's basically a mix between a shmup and Zelda in a Death Star like planet ship thing. So I don't know if that's doing it justice, but like basically you fly through you're a robot ship girl that transforms into a ship and within a giant like planet that's not really a planet. It's like a man-made thing or alien-made thing or whatever. But it looks like it's terraformed. It looks like it's a real planet or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
there's different zones that look differently. So you fly through the zone, you get to the next area, and then you're on foot, and you're kind of walking through a Zelda like the very first Zelda, the like maze where you go up a screen and there's like enemies and stuff, and you shoot them and whatever. It's been a long time since I played it, and I'm actually gonna be playing it again soon for my best games in retro years articles that I'm doing. But that game is it's like a my go-to like obscure good game because like no one's heard of it. There was never a sequel. The developer was not really around for much else. Let me look what else they did. Kind of obscure game. I know it was published by Broderbund, who by now is really obscure, but they published some other games. Well, I guess no. I guess um, Compile developed it, and they did like Puyo Pop and stuff. So I guess they did do some other things, but and they became Compile Heart and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of my pick. I'm sure there's a lot more, but I didn't. I should have made a list beforehand. I was an idiot. I didn't think about that. Do you have any other ideas? Any other underappreciated games?
Um, Man, I know there's a lot, but I can't really think of them
Yeah,
right now.
there's probably I'm looking at my shelf. Probably the ones that are underappreciated are the ones that I sold a long time ago and I shouldn't have sold. Um, but yeah. So finally, let's just close it out with what we're playing right now. Why don't you go first, Hayden?
Okay. Well, technically, I'm not really playing anything right now because I don't really have much time to
Mm-hmm.
play video games in general because of school. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess the last game I did play was Final Fantasy Type Zero, which I
Oh, cool.
pre-ordered, so got that on day one, which comes with the Final Fantasy 15 demo,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, I played that. Um,
Type Zero is on my
enjoyed.
list. I want to get.
Hmm.
How did you enjoy the Final Fantasy 15? If you can talk demo or whatever episode Deske, which is kind of like its own little thing. It's not really a demo.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. As a lot of people have said, the combat is sort of similar to Kingdom Hearts, um, but at the same time, it feels distinct. It feels like its own thing, um, and the mechanics felt surprisingly pretty deep. Like the way you chain together certain attacks and combos, and there's like different weapon types. So like you start off with your first attack, and then you go into your main barrage of attacks, and then there's also attack where um, you like jump and then attack. It's just yeah, there's kind of a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's cool to hear that the combat's so intense and satisfying. In addition to the open world aspect being really
Hmm.
cool, from what I hear, because a lot of games like Skyrim is great, but like the combat's really not. Like it's not like
Yeah.
amazing. It's kind of floaty and whatever. A lot of open world games are like that. The open world creation is amazing, but the combat's just kind of a vehicle of conflict. It's not really like an amazing
Hmm.
because it's not like crafted action games where they can really put that kind of care into it. But it sounds like Final Fantasy 15. God, I can't talk. Kind of blends both of those, which makes sense because I mean they've been working on it forever as well.
Hmm.
When it was Final Fantasy 13 verses or whatever. So, do you like it more than Type Zero, or are they just kind of two very different games? Like you can't even really compare it.
Um, well, even though I haven't really played much of Type Zero yet, um, I can't say that they are two very different games. 15 obviously is more action oriented, and from what I played, it feels less doesn't feel like the traditional RPG. And I say that because like your party members, they all seem to do their own thing. Like I didn't really seem to need to assign any kind of skills or attributes to them when leveling up, which is kind of strange. But I'm not sure if that's just for the demo or they'll
Right. Yeah. Some of that stuff might
modify that
come.
into the main game.
Mhm.
But yeah, whereas with Type Zero, it's definitely more RPG heavy. Um, you can switch between characters on the go, and each of them has a distinct class um, like tank, damage dealer, healer, stuff like that, and they all have their um, skills according to that class.
Cool. Yeah. Type Zero is on my list. I'm behind and everything because of money and time and life, but I want to get Type Zero eventually. Um, so I've been playing. I usually play 3 games at once, which is kind of maybe why I don't get through anything. I played 2 new games and one older game for my that I'm constantly just slogging through my best of. Right now, I'm working on best of 1987. I've done from 79 through 86. I'm gonna keep going until feasibly 2015 because I didn't write a list last year. This is for my own personal thing. I won't necessarily write a thing that recently. Um, but anyways, yeah. So I'm playing. I just beat Kirby and the Rainbow Curse for Wii U, which is a really fun game. Um, it's really beautiful. We played a little bit on Invisible Gamer Plays, and I kept talking about how beautiful it was. It's
Mm.
oh, It makes me so happy. I'm kind of tired of a lot of like dark and like scary games. I'm just like I want to be happy.
Yeah.
And Kirby is that it's fun. It's not too difficult. It's actually pretty easy, like most Kirby games.
I
But
heard
every
that
once in a while, I
was
can ride it.
sorry.
You heard it was no. Go ahead. You heard it was what?
Oh, I was just gonna say I heard that the easy difficulty was sort of one of the complaints critics had with the game.
Yeah, yeah, and
Um,
it could definitely get harder than
yeah.
even Triple Deluxe or some of the more recent Kirby games because it is a little more um, kind of coordination involved with drawing the lines, you know, and because it's based on Kirby and the Canvas Curse, it's the same kind of style of gameplay, and like leading him
Right.
along the lines and getting to the levels, whatever. Um, so yeah, it is. It's pretty easy. It's a Kirby game, but it's just fun and it's lighthearted, and the claymation is awesome. I love that style. I
Mhm.
love that Kirby is kind of this vehicle for Nintendo to try out wacky things like Epic Yarn and now this and
Yeah.
some of the other gameplay stuff that they've done with him. Um, and so I had a lot of fun with Kirby and Rainbow Curse. Even it was a little short, but it was fun. And then I was playing Dying Light. I've been playing a lot, which is I'm way behind, but that's a big game, and that I think is shaping up to be my game of the year so far. Um,
Yeah, I've heard a lot of positive things for that game.
well, it helped that it came out at a time when nothing else was out. Um, but I'm not tired of the zombie thing yet when it's done really well. I love the parkour mechanics. I just like upgrading stuff. It just the feedback of finishing quests and getting upgrades and new weapons and stuff like it hits that right spot for me. Um, it's really cool. I think it's like I said. I think it's shaping up to be my game of the year so far. Like I said, I'm far behind on a lot of things, so that's very clearly going to change, and a lot of things are going to come out this year. So, um, and I've been playing finally East One, which is a 1987 game. Have you heard of the East series?
I have.
It's spelled
Yeah.
YS, Wise, as a lot of
Yeah.
people like to call it.
Yeah. It's a pretty popular JRPG series.
Yeah, and it's cool because
Mhm.
it's not really your typical JRPG. It's kind of more like Zelda actually.
Mhm. Yeah, more action oriented.
Yeah, especially this first one. I don't know how about later games in the series, but basically, and I had a lot of trouble with this early. I was playing it a lot today actually. Earlier today, I was like, I hate this game. I paid $15 for the remaster of the first one and the second one. I'm like, I wasted my money. This game sucks because the combat is that you don't swing a sword. You bump into enemies, and you have to bump into them at a certain angle. If you come at them head on like this, you'll get hurt. You'll both get hurt, and you'll die. But if you come at them like a side angle or from behind, that's what deals damage, and you're fine. And I could not for the life of me get past even like the first ring of enemies, like coming out of the first starting town. I was like, oh my god, this is insane. And like I just could not find a groove for it. And then I played a little bit more, a little bit more. I'm like, okay, I get it. And then when you part of it was first of all, I didn't realize that I didn't have a sword, so that didn't help. I didn't have any armor. I was still level one, whatever. I leveled up a bunch. I got better gear and stuff, and now I take out enemies much quicker. I know how to work the system, and when you stand still, you heal. So I just had to stand still, and I was fine. And I don't know if that's just like the normal. I'm playing it on normal for this remaster. I don't know if that was in the original 1987 game, but just in this remaster, it's like that. But it's an interesting game. It has like a lot of narrative stuff, and I'm playing the remaster, but I'm gonna look into like the original version to see how much was changed. But I know it had like some pretty advanced stuff even back for when it came out in terms of like cinematics and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
fun
Oh yeah,
things,
definitely.
fun games, playing games. Check out Invisible Gamer Plays this week. Coming up, we're going to be playing Outlast still. We're still trudging through that scary ass game. And we're going to play Aru's Awakening, which is a PS Plus game for PS4. And we're going to have our multiplayer game be Mario Kart 8 this week. So those are some other games. I've been playing lots of games, I guess. Those were filmed. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in, watching Invisible Gamecast number 23. Hopefully, we can get this to a semi-regular basis again. Thank you so much for coming on, Hayden. It was lots of fun.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No
Yeah.
problem. Maybe we'll have you on again in the
Peace out.
future. What'd you say?
Huh? Oh, no.
I think I talked over you, but anyways, yeah. So check out invisiblegamer.net. Keep up to date. Follow us on Twitter. I guess I'm at Edeltodd. Hayden's at Gripply something. Gripply.
It's either at Gripply or Gripply78. Yeah.
Check out either one of those. And stay tuned. I'm going to self-promote one more thing. My Majora's Mask thing is going to go up someday soon. So read that. I want you to read that because it was a very personal story I told for it. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching. Come back next week if we're here.
Yeah.
Good night.